Hello, everyone, and here we are on the banks of a new era, flowing into a sea of feces and blood and potential terrible situations. This is Justin, by the way, and before my unfiltered right brain syndrome kicked in, I was going to say that before the show, we've got a little promo for our wonderful, beautiful, tawny, he just has a lot of bite to him, our buddy Jeff at the Kung Fu Drive-In podcast. You'll hear that, and then right into the show.
You ever watch Kung Fu?
I love Kung Fu.
If you love Kung Fu, join me on the Kung Fu Drive-In podcast, a weekly show where we discuss, debate, and dissect Kung Fu and martial arts movies past, present, and future. Available now on iTunes and Google Play Music. You can find me on social media on Twitter and Instagram at Kung Fu Drive-In, the Facebook page Kung Fu Drive-In Podcast, or our blog, kungfudrivein.com. Just remember, your Kung Fu may be good, but mine is better.
I know Kung Fu.
Apocalypse coming, man. Like the moon's gonna give birth to some horses and shit, man. And they're gonna come out and they're gonna have wings of fury.
Trump has been president-elect for a week. Already he's made the moon great. Not the gelato.
Sushi jackknife. 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 Sushi jackknife.
Yeah.
So a funny thing happened on the way to democracy.
I have no idea what you mean.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you turned your phone off for a week. Solid.
Yeah.
You have no context for what's
actually,
going on.
that probably would have been the best decision for everyone involved.
For mental health, certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what else is there to say at this point? I got a good chuckle out of Dave Chappelle's bit on SNL, his monologue on SNL.
Yeah. All of it was a good episode.
Mm-hmm. It was. Yeah, it was.
Very solid. Dave Chappelle still has it.
Oh, man.
10 years later.
So hard. He has it so hard. He just got that money.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm really curious. Dave Chappelle on Saturday Night Live. People don't just randomly show up on Saturday Night Live.
No, they don't.
What's he planning?
What's he got coming up?
What's he gonna do?
Yeah.
That's just my theory.
That's a good question.
That he has something happening. I mean, last time he was in his heyday was during Bush presidency.
Whoa, really? That was that long ago?
Yeah, 10 years.
Holy moly, I didn't realize.
And now there's more things to make fun of.
That's true.
And if anyone is going to come out and make racial commentary through comedy, Dave Chappelle.
He's a great choice.
Chris Rock, second.
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock. Then everyone else is like way down at like 100th. And then
true.
Carlos Mencia is at the bottom. What happened to that guy? He just disappeared.
Yeah, he had a show on, and I don't know. I never really mind of Mencia. You remember that?
Yeah. Oh, no, I remember it. It was like Chappelle's show if you took out every redeeming quality of Chappelle's show.
Yeah, it wasn't very good, unfortunately. And Chappelle's show was brilliant, so it was a bad time to be... I think it was a bad time to be Carlos Mencia.
Every time's a bad time to be Carlos Mencia. I know that he's gotten in fights about joke theft.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Those are the worst fights.
With your man.
My man?
Your man, Joe Rogue.
Oh, Rogue?
Joe Rogue.
Rogues? I mean, Rogues ain't my man, but...
Yeah, your man, Joe Rogue.
I have many men. He's just one of them. He got big.
Joe Rogue?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. Like, my reference point for him was news radio.
Yeah.
And then, like, I listened to his show, but I hadn't seen a picture of him.
Yeah.
That guy got swole. And he got swole in all the wrong places. He's all, like, swole up in his, like, what's this called at the top of your neck here?
Neck top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's all that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to Sushi Jackknife.
Welcome. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
The podcast that steals slightly fewer jokes than Carlos Mencia.
True. Very true. Or just kind of piggybacks off of them
Mm-hmm.
more times.
Well, I mean, we steal fewer jokes just based on the fact that we have very few jokes.
That's a true statement.
That land.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean, they exist.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, joke. That's,
They just kick around for a while.
yeah.
It's true. Did you see the moon tonight?
Yeah, I did.
Fuck me. We're recording this on Monday night, so
It's a big moon.
it's a big ass moon, man.
That's a real moon out there.
I mean, that's the kind of moon things you think apocalypse coming, man. Like the moon's gonna give birth to some horses and shit, man. And they're gonna come out and they're gonna have wings of fury.
You know what I
and
think
shit.
happened?
What?
Trump has been president-elect for a week.
A week.
Already he's made the moon great. That's what happened.
Goddamn. It's not even the first 100 days yet.
He's not even in office.
Wow.
And it's already happening.
He is getting started. He's getting started. I mean, he did that. He named the guy from Breitbart his fucking spokes guy or whatever, which is fucked, but expected. I did learn today that you have to get Congress to approve 3 positions in the cabinet. I was not aware of this.
Okay.
Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense,
Yeah.
and the press secretary. Those have
Press secretary?
I
Really?
know.
That's one of the 3?
That's one of the 3. Just goes to show how important the media is in this country.
I assume that because I've never heard of a press secretary being rejected,
Correct.
that they go, hey, this person, and everyone goes, what? I don't care.
Yeah. Generally.
Yeah, he can go talk to the people, whatever.
Yeah. Usually that is a extremely difficult job. I don't know why I remember this, but I remember the guy, I don't remember his name, but I remember the guy who was press secretary with Bush.
We'll call him John.
What's that?
John.
We'll call him, it's a safe guess his name was John.
Yeah, I think his name was John.
And that guy, I always felt like he was a pretty moderate guy. And he had to constantly defend Bush to the press and answer really difficult questions. I mean, have people forgotten how much ire there was for George Bush? Maybe they have a little bit. I wondered
about this after the election.
Yeah.
Because the first election for Bush was, I mean, people were not happy.
No.
But it wasn't that big a deal.
Just so let's recall, that was 2000. That was the one where Al
Gore won the popular vote. He lost the election because of 700 plus votes in the state of Florida.
There you go.
Okay.
The hanging chaff.
Yes.
Yes.
Something along those lines.
Yes.
Then 2004 is when all of the hatred for Bush
yes.
just compounded.
It did.
But he was running against John Kerry.
It was kind of like this time.
Yeah.
Kind of.
It was John Kerry.
Yeah, it was John Kerry. Nobody really...
And the people who were voting for John Kerry were voting for not George W. Bush.
That's correct. That's correct. I remember there being like this cultural outcry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was this... there were albums being released that were anti-Bush albums, you know. I think Green Day was involved. There were a lot of bands involved. There was just all sorts of stuff. I mean, the Bush era was like a nightmare for a lot of people, you know.
And they did do the same thing this time.
Yeah.
With Trump. There were musicians putting out special songs. Death Cab for Cutie has a song.
Did they? I didn't hear
called
about
$1 Million Loan.
Oh.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. Haven't heard that yet.
Get your father on the phone for $1 million loan. It again didn't work because it turns out if you're writing songs against a candidate, the only people who are going to listen to those songs are the people who already don't like that candidate.
That's probably true.
No one is going, well, I hadn't thought about it like that.
Right.
Thank you, Green Day, for changing my mind.
I am an American idiot. Yeah, it was. I mean, we've all had our thoughts out there. It's been almost a week now. I mean, I don't know.
Still protests,
There's still protests happening.
which are stupid.
I mean, the one in Oregon. I mean, I'll never like slight people for protesting.
I will.
But it was funny. It was funny that it was like, so many like affluent white people protesting. It's funny, you know what I mean? Because that just doesn't happen. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, I will fault
great.
people for protesting because there are so many better ways to do things. For instance, you could have had your voice heard by, I don't know, I'm just spitballing here, voting.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I agree. I mean, I think protest is it's not a negative thing.
The only valid protests, in my opinion, are civil rights protests.
Okay.
In this situation, it's just a bunch of angry kids going out and going, hey, the person I wanted to win didn't win.
Well, it might go a little bit deeper than that, but I do hope that the sort of intensity there doesn't peter out. It probably will. It tends to with people, even myself, everybody. But I hope that 4 years goes by and it comes around, and hey, we've got a chance there. People are already throwing around the idea that there's he will likely do something to be impeached in a small matter of time. Yeah. We'll see what happens, but
Well, here's the thing. All of those people out there protesting could have done something ahead of time. They could have organized to get more people to the voting booths if they did vote. I contend, based on the group that I've seen and knowing how lazy millennials are,
being one,
that maybe 3/4 of the people protesting voted.
Yeah, I don't know.
In which case, you lose all right to go out in the street and hold up signs and throw a fit about a candidate if you didn't even take the time to vote.
I agree with you. I agree with you on the point of how important voting is. Voting is insanely important. I don't think. I mean, it's pretty obvious at this point that young people didn't come out like they did for Obama.
Yeah,
they just didn't. African Americans didn't come out like they did for Obama, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Keep going. You know what I mean? It just didn't. The swell wasn't there, and there were probably a lot of things that undermined that. A lot of young people were into Sanders, and then there was the whole controversy about him basically being like pushed out of the election. Had he been there, though, doubtful that he could have won either in reality. You know what I mean?
The big issue is these people not turning out to vote. It was most likely a bunch of people, and I speak from experience because I have had this thought many, many times, saying, the government doesn't even represent me, I don't even care.
Yeah.
And they do care.
Yeah.
And they do have a candidate they support.
Right.
But they don't even care.
Yeah, you really, it's an interesting time, man.
So in 2 years, midterm elections, if these people aren't voting and trying to make it where there's at least a bipartisan Congress,
amen,
they can all just suck it.
Amen. Yeah. 2 years. In 2 years, I mean, you really got to do it.
Yeah.
You really got to do
2 years.
2 years.
Less than.
Yeah, at this point, we're counting.
1 year and however many days.
Days less than. Yeah, absolutely.
You can do the math yourself because I don't want to.
Nah.
Yeah. Well, and I think, maybe we can provide a bit of public service by getting up on some senatorial candidates and congressional candidates.
We have in the state of Tennessee.
Yeah.
We have, I believe, a representative that will be up for re-election in our area.
Gotcha.
I think we have a senator. who will be
Yeah, I
up.
think you're right.
I believe it's Bob Corker, if I'm not
I think that's correct.
mistaken. He may not even be in office at that point because he's on a short list of cabinet people.
Is he really? I didn't realize that. Okay, he's on a cabinet
So
shortlist.
you will have a chance in the state of Tennessee to take out a person who has only been in office for a couple years
There you go.
if he gets the cabinet position.
Did Jim Cooper win in Tennessee?
Yes.
Okay, that's a good thing.
Yeah, he did.
That's a good thing. Yeah. Yeah. And I believe, if I'm not wrong, isn't Bill Haslam the governor of the state of Tennessee? Isn't he a Democrat? Or am I wrong
No.
about that? He is a Republican.
He is a Republican.
Okay.
He is, however, the most liberal Republican I can think of for governor,
That's good. Okay.
in the sense that he's still social issue very Republican.
Yeah.
But then you've seen in the state of Tennessee how many like free junior college and things like that have come out.
absolutely. Yeah.
That's not
Marijuana.
that's
you
not
can,
Republican stances.
Right, that's true. You can possess an ounce of marijuana in Davidson County, which is the county that Nashville's in, which is where we are right now. Which is pretty. And, I mean, the election was bad for everything except for pot, probably.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
What? Totally legal in California now.
Yep.
Medical in Florida.
In Florida, Maine.
But no real surprise there. Maine pissed me off in a major way on the election. What is this? What we need to research this. What is this fucking county in Maine that gets one electoral vote on their own?
It's Maine and Nebraska both have split electoral votes.
Nebraska has that too. Really, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I think it didn't matter in Nebraska because all of them went to
Correct.
Donald J.
Yeah.
But
DJ.
yeah, he there was a chance to take one from Nebraska.
It's true. One. Well, all of Maine, most of Maine went blue, but that one outlier county did go red.
That's probably why it's set
That's
up that
probably
way.
why it's that way. Really weird, though. No one else gets that. If you did that in certain counties in this state, even, I think you'd get a couple blue counties in there. Probably our county.
And really, if you wanted to be very fair,
Yeah.
that's how it would be set up.
Right. I mean, this is kind of a thing worth bringing up. How did the popular vote turn out? I heard that Hillary won the popular vote. Then I heard that it actually did swing to Trump. But then I read today that Hillary actually did win the popular vote.
Yeah,
is that
she
still
won.
is that still
As far
correct?
as I have heard, yes.
Yeah. So I mean, there's the Electoral College,
Yeah.
which, as I understand it, is like a certain number of votes per state
Based on population.
based on population, and that's how you win the presidency. 270, as we know, is the magic number, which he surpassed. I mean, he kind of killed it.
He won
You know,
many, many states by tiny, tiny margins.
yeah, but he won them.
Yeah.
He won them. So I don't know. People are throwing around this thing of like, do we really need the Electoral College anymore? And I feel like it's probably a thing that was set up back in the day because we had this big thing about states' rights versus the federal government early on in American history. You know what I mean? We're really not there anymore. I mean, it's clear that if the federal government wanted to do basically anything in your state government is not going to prevent that, you know,
Well, from what I understand,
for the most part.
the Electoral College was set up at the time to prevent the people from essentially electing a dictator type.
Oh, wow, that worked.
Yeah, it was set up so that the people could be overridden.
Reined in, so to speak.
Yeah,
Reined in.
which I get both sides of this.
Okay.
Here's the thing.
Yeah, lay it out.
Popular vote. Yes, that would be democratic. We don't live in a democracy, though.
Right. We live in a republic.
Yeah. The downside to just having a straight popular vote is essentially then the election is just handled by the big areas. So
Right.
North Dakota doesn't have a voice.
Correct.
Which is fine because North Dakota's garbage.
South Dakota
Wyoming
as well.
doesn't have a voice.
Yeah.
The smaller states have a very minuscule voice.
Correct.
So the two sides are, do the tiny states deserve that much of a say in the electoral process since there aren't as many people there, or should the biggest populations get to determine it versus should everyone have some sort of say in it?
Right. Now, I mean, you have to think this through, right? Because you could be presented with a candidate who you don't care for, who could also win the popular vote.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's populism, so to speak. You know what I mean? But at least in the last few elections, it would have swung blue for sure. Because Obama also won the popular vote. No.
No, yeah. Oh, it wasn't even close.
Obama killed it.
Well, I mean, look at who he was going against. You got McCain,
Yeah.
who had Sarah Palin.
That ruined his campaign.
There's some dead weight right there.
Yeah. Because McCain is like, McCain's a veteran. He's a very experienced politician. He's been a senator for fucking ever.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You got Mitt Romney, who's not conservative enough for the Republicans to be excited about.
Right, because he pushed through comprehensive health care in Massachusetts.
He is the person who... It should really be called Romney Care.
Right.
Because the entire system was his system. It was developed and instituted under his watch.
Right.
And the Democrats went, we'll roll that out nationwide.
While at the same time being like accidentally recorded saying, fuck poor people.
Yeah.
So, Romney wasn't going to win. And people, there was something about the guy that just people didn't like. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's because he was Mormon. I know that I don't want that to be true.
Right.
But
that was
I
probably
would bet there was a fair amount of Republican
bias.
Party who went,
There was some bias there, for sure. And there's nothing to there's no reason that should have prevented him, but it did. I mean, that's discrimination just like we saw in this campaign. Speaking of elections, though, there's another important election that went down. And again, the result was not favorable towards us.
what is this?
Our friend of the show, my deep personal friend,
Yeah.
Nebraska Roy,
NR.
lost his election for a seat at the council, where he was going to be like the first guy in a bajillion years that wasn't a farmer that would have been elected. Nebraska Roy is an environmental scientist. He knows about water. You know what I mean? He knows about these things. But the good people of Norfolk, Nebraska decided not to elect him.
Does he acknowledge that global warming exists?
He sure does.
That's why.
Also, I think he lost out of some kind of technicality. He had moved out of the county or something, so he technically couldn't win anyway. But yeah, you make an excellent point.
Yeah, next time you run for something, Roy, when they say,
advice.
If anyone asks anything about global warming, this is the answer you give. Well, the scientists have reached a general consensus, but science, right?
Who can trust that?
And if you just stop there, you're not committing to either side, and people will hear what they want to hear.
Remember, everyone, science kills babies. But on to other things.
Yes.
I think this week has been a tough week for everybody. Not everybody, but a lot of people. I feel like they resurrected the dead to win that election. Like people who hadn't voted and fuck knows when came out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
but moving forward is important. Compassion is important.
Yeah. Well, what happened here, and really everyone needs to pay attention to it, is Donald Trump. I will give him credit on this one thing.
Okay.
And
All
this
right.
is the last thing he gets credit for until he proves himself. He has not proven anything.
He has proved he's in the negative.
He somehow found every single fear
He did.
that a majority of Americans feel.
Correct.
And he tapped into every one of those like a political terrorist.
Yeah.
He found those fears and just
Right.
meh, meh, meh.
Right. And
Immigration, meh. They're changing things. Blah, the economy, jobs,
Job
blah,
loss,
blah, blah,
yeah.
blah. Which it didn't matter that the economy is up and job loss is down.
right. Exactly.
He said the right thing.
He did. He did.
And
Well,
that's how he won that Rust Belt.
and I think it's important that we understand, why people voted the way that they did.
Yeah.
I think that's important because if we get too fixated on how unhappy we are about all this, it's not going to get us anywhere.
No.
You know what I mean? We have to understand why he won. You know, I'm not happy about him winning. One of the worst things that happens as a result of his winning is it just sort of justifies the bullshit that he stands for. You know what I mean? It justifies all the horrible shit that he said, all the horrible shit that he's done. His way of running is justified, which is completely without class or
that's
anything.
my biggest issue.
Yeah, right, because it's going to spawn more little fuckers just like him. You know what I mean? It's fucking horrible that his win legitimized so much deplorable shit. You know what I mean? And we have to really work hard to not let it be so legitimized. You know what I mean?
And this is going back to it, why I have the issue with the protesters. The protesters are just focusing on one thing, which is that Donald Trump is president, and they
Right.
don't like it.
Yeah, that's true.
And they can protest it all they want. But you know what? Unless something weird happens, very strange,
Yeah.
not gonna happen in the Electoral College. I'm just gonna put that out there for everyone who's still holding out hope that all of the delegates that are supposed to go to Trump are gonna go, no, I changed my vote. Not gonna happen.
No, that's not going to
So
happen.
calm down.
Right. And it wasn't rigged either.
No. Protesting is going to only divide everything up more.
Yeah.
And the next election, if this continues, will just be worse.
Yeah. The thing that yeah, you're right. And the thing that we really have to do is we have to pay attention, and we have to sort of look at our own beliefs, and we have to move forward. You know what I mean?
Well, and general angst doesn't do anything.
Well, and the thing, yeah, go ahead.
You got to. I mean, I know everyone wants their voice heard,
Right.
And it's important.
Right.
Trump, as president, needs to know he's not representing
Everybody.
the
Majority.
the constituents that
Right.
voted for him.
Correct.
He's not just representing them.
No.
He has to represent the entire country.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at this point, every minority's out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Apparently, only half of the women are out, but still half of the women are out.
Half.
So, as a white male, I guess I should be excited.
But we're not. I mean,
So, instead of general protests about the fact that he is president, waiting, planning, making sure your voice is heard on an actual issue
correct.
might help.
Yeah, it's going to help. And I mean, look, we're not happy about it. I'm not happy about it. But it's important that we trust the process, because honestly, this process that we have of electing somebody by votes by the people is more important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
that's the way that we do things, and that we accept the results, even if we don't care for them, is huge. That's the basis of our whole fucking government. You know what I mean? That's what we do. So, you know, some kind of like snafu, like you're saying, some kind of weird rules change or something, isn't going to really change anything. And if it did, it would sort of drain the authenticity out of the whole process. You know what I mean? The process has to stand. But you're exactly right. In 2 years, that's when we need to really
that's when
take
people
action.
And not in 2 years.
Well, yeah, now. Start now.
Start doing things.
Now. Right.
Stop.
But in 2 years, make sure you go vote.
Put down your stupid sign.
I mean, part of that is kids being kids. You know that. You know that.
But it's a waste of everyone's time.
Well, it's not a waste if it gets them thinking, and if it gets other, you know what I mean?
But but here's what it's doing. It's allowing the people who voted for Trump to legitimize their thoughts on those liberals. Those liberals, they just... Everyone is over there. If you go on Twitter and look, every Trump supporter is commenting on everything about liberal tears and blah, blah, blah. All it's doing is helping them have a stronger bias.
Well,
and
that may be.
And I'm not going to point fingers at them for that, because if everything was flipped around, the liberals would be doing the same thing. Like these people who were protesting would be making fun of those people who would be protesting.
Sure, yeah. Well, you know, I did something today that was interesting. I kind of did a U, actually. I read something on the New York Times, and then I went over to our pals at Breitbart and read their coverage of the exact same thing. Now, you might believe that the New York Times is liberal media. You might believe that NPR is liberal media. You might have a point in all those things, that, you know, there's a certain degree of that where there's a certain degree of bias. But the shit that goes on Breitbart is a whole other fucking level. Yes. Those people don't cite a goddamn thing.
Well, I mean, they haven't looked.
They don't intend to look. It hasn't occurred to them to look.
Yeah.
They aren't interested in being fair at all. It's just like Fox News, but it's on the internet, and you read it instead of watch it. And it's worse than Fox News.
Fox News, I will give them this for this election. All of the nonsense about things like Hillary Clinton being indicted,
right,
and stuff like that, they didn't immediately jump on it. They waited until there was some sort of source or a couple sources to report anything.
Right. And by the way, you've got the guy who's the chief over at Breitbart now in Trump's cabinet. So be very careful as to what you hear and what you believe coming out of the Oval Office coming soon. I mean, they have no intention of even trying to be a news site. That is not a news site. That is a propaganda machine, man.
Well,
that's all it is.
3/4 of, I was going to say conservative media, but I'll also say liberal media, is propaganda / conspiracy theory.
I'm nodding.
It's, there's not, I mean, there's not a lot of completely unbiased news sources.
Right.
But there are news sources that cite things. For every Breitbart, there's some Democrat left-wing site that is doing the same thing.
That's true.
It's just more fringe.
Well,
Breitbart is somehow legitimized in the Republican Party.
Right. Suddenly, by the way. I hadn't heard of them until this year.
Oh, you hadn't?
No.
Oh, no. Andrew Breitbart, who is now sadly deceased.
Oh.
I say sadly, but I don't really
You're not really sad about
it. Started it, and it was Andrew Breitbart, supposedly, I will say supposedly because I haven't done the research, had ties to white supremacists.
Fuck.
Mm-hmm. which is really cool. Cool for him. So that influences Breitbart's
Sure.
writing on the site.
But of course.
Of course, once again, I say supposedly because I have not done the research.
Yeah.
This is just what I've heard.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm not going to do the research because I don't care about Andrew Breitbart.
Right.
I just know dude died.
Dude died, man.
Dude died.
Dude croaked. Yeah, I mean, so that's all I'm saying. But I feel like there are sources, even though they may have some bias. You know, you can print dissenting opinions in the same newspaper.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good indicator of something that's not completely biased. You know what I mean?
Well, basically, you just have to consume as much as you can.
Yeah, you have to get around. Yeah, you have to get around. I mean, but I feel like something like the New York Times, you know, walking into it, you might think, oh yeah, they probably have a little bit of a liberal bias, and they probably do.
Yeah.
But it's not like that. It's not the same thing.
It's a slant.
It's a slant. It's not a Goebbels-like propaganda machine.
No.
You know what I'm saying? It's not the same thing.
Right.
NPR is not the same thing. I'm sorry.
NPR,
you know?
I know that as a non-conservative, my opinion here doesn't matter.
Likewise, I guess.
But NPR is so not slanted towards one side that it's boring to listen to.
You've made this argument before. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
There are no points of view most of the time. It's just, and the way they, I'm assuming, presented that Donald Trump won the election was not the shock and awe thing everyone else did. It was probably along the lines of, and Donald Trump won the election last night.
As dry as possible, yeah.
Over to so-and-so as she reports on what 3 people in the state of New Hampshire have to say about this. That's all it is.
It is a pretty dry presentation of the information, and I know conservative people that listen to NPR too.
Yeah.
Not that means anything, but there you go.
They only listen to Car Talk, though, right?
Probably, yeah. Reruns now. Oh, sadness. Which news coverage did you watch on election night?
CNN.
CNN.
Well, I watched CNN for a bit, then
Okay.
I just stared at my phone.
Okay.
Because I was not home.
Gotcha. You're right. You were at a concert. I watched PBS.
Yeah.
Partly because I can pick it up, and partly because I was like, oh, it's fucking PBS.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
They had a pretty good panel on, I have to say. They had a guy who had been a strategist for Bush on. They had their 2 normal hosts. They had a guy who had been a strategist for Obama on. They had, I'm not sure where she's from, but, you know, an African-American lady from a university.
Oh, a university.
I know.
Like a 4-year?
Perish the thought. Like, I mean, beyond that, like a, you know.
Liberal elites.
Right?
Those liberal elites always pulling in educated people.
They had another news analyst, a female woman, Amy Walter. I don't know if you know who she is, but anyway, they had David Brooks on, and they had I think his name was Mark Shields, who was older than God and looked like he was about to die the entire time. Did they just
find everyone that might have something to say about politics to put on the
They kind of did. Yeah, it was good, though. It was really...
You haven't thought about politics? Come over here.
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, one of the moments that was interesting is David Brooks is like looking at his phone, getting distracted because his phone is going crazy of people being upset. Now, he's... Correct me if I'm wrong here. He's not necessarily a liberal
No,
guy.
he's a conservative writer.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Now... I guess this speaks. I've read a couple things that he wrote after the election today. I thought he had some reasonable shit to say.
Well,
I really
he's
do.
an intellectual, conservative. He's not Glenn Beck.
He's not a Glenn Beck.
He, I mean, they're intellectual conservative writers. They just aren't loud enough.
Yeah, well,
and
I mean,
so Bill O'Reilly gets more attention.
Yeah, that guy. Fuck. But, you know, that's the kind of that's the kind of thing we have to get back to, I feel like, and I hope we can get back there. We have to get back to, it's fine to disagree with another person. It's fine to have a real discussion, you know, and it's fine to sort of present your ideas, and have a debate about it, you know what I mean? And it not be this like constant attack of someone's character or yada yada yada, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the I'm about to sound like an old man.
It's okay.
I just know this is going to sound like an old man complaint. But that 24/7 cable news.
Oh.
Let me tell you, back in my day.
Yeah, back in your day.
No, it's every show is just let's have one talking head yell at the other talking head.
Right.
For half an hour, and then we'll take a commercial break so we can get two new people to yell about a different issue.
And it's a pox. You know what I mean? It's a pox on this fucking nation. I mean, there's something about writing even, right? Yeah. There's something about writing where before you publish something, hopefully you've put some thought into it.
No.
But, you know, as you're sitting there on television with the cameras on, the expectations that you say something, you know what I mean? And the expectation that you be entertaining. You're on television, for God's sakes.
Right.
In the written world, you have the opportunity, at least, to prepare something with cohesive thought and present it to the world without their immediate feedback, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I mean, you get that online, but you don't have to read the internet comments. When you're watching news on TV, it just becomes, like you say, it just becomes this fucking yelling match, and it's ridiculous.
It's
it's not necessary.
I just watched a documentary, and I'm trying to figure out what it's called.
Yeah.
That was talking about the first time Best of Enemies, that's what it was.
Best of Enemies, okay.
The first time a TV network did the let's have two people who hate each other talk thing. And so they had, I believe it was ABC for some convention coverage, I think 68, whatever.
Okay.
Had Gore Vidal.
Oh, yeah, I remember you talking about this a little bit.
And William F. Buckley.
Right. Gore Vidal being a liberal, William F. Buckley being a conservative.
William F. Buckley being like one of the biggest conservative voices of his generation.
Sure.
Gore Vidal, also one of the biggest voices of his generation. Also, by the way, side note, anyone who says PBS is super liberal, William F. Buckley had a show on there for like decades.
There you go.
So, suck it. But so the whole thing was about how contentious their relationship was and how nasty it was.
Yeah.
And you watch it, and their debates, yes, they're nasty, but they actually said something. And at some point, we stopped caring about actually saying things.
We sure did.
I mean, we just elected a guy into office that his entire campaign plan was, we're going to make America great again. And that's not a campaign plan.
It's not a campaign plan. It's not anything.
How are we going to do it? Well, we're going to look at what will make America great again. We're going to do that. Because that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not a...
There's nothing there.
And then Hillary Clinton tried to fight that by pointing out that, you know, Donald Trump has said a few things and it's the opposite of what he's done in life. But that's not laying out your plan either.
I mean,
no one.
Well, she certainly had. I felt like watching all the debates and everything, listening to everything I listened to, reading everything I read. I felt like she had a plan.
She had a plan, but she didn't go into any specifics. And he didn't have a plan to go into specifics on. So
right.
The debate between the two of them really just turned into a debate of ideology instead of practicality.
Oh, certainly.
And
Yeah.
that's silly. That's silly.
Yeah, I'm with you. We have to kind of return to a more dignified time in our discourse. You know what I mean? We really do. We have to get back to it.
This is, I'm pretty sure, based on everything I've read, the most divided the country has been, just in all the different segments.
Yeah.
Since the Civil War.
Correct. Correct.
Because you get all the racial divides,
Yep.
which are getting stronger and stronger at this
yeah.
point.
It's a bad situation.
You got a ridiculous political divide where every Republican hates every Democrat and every Democrat hates every Republican, and there's no middle ground.
There's no middle
And there's
ground.
also libertarians, but no one cares that they exist. That's for you, Joe Rogan. So it's, I don't know. I want to be optimistic,
Yeah.
but it's very difficult to be optimistic and go, oh, I think we'll probably all be able to, act accordingly, be together again,
To Jell-O?
hold hands,
Yeah.
make America the utopia we want.
Well,
Sing Kumbaya
right.
and skip through fields. There aren't even fields left.
You're right.
There are none of them. We paved them all over.
We did. To put up a parking lot. Well, yeah, I think you're right. I mean, as much as I'd love to see that imaginary scenario happen,
Yeah.
it's tough going,
Yeah.
If this is the division we're looking at,
Mm-hmm.
if we're looking at if this is what the Republicans are going to look like
Yeah.
for the next bit,
Yeah.
that's really hard. I don't think we quite know what the Democrats are going to look like yet, but if they really try to win back the youth vote, the African American vote, they're going to have to go a little harder left, don't you think?
I don't think so.
No, not necessarily.
I think I think being more moderate.
Will be the thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I think essentially both parties are going to have to go more moderate at some point.
If they did, that would be amazing. I'm all
Because-
for it.
I know that the Republicans swung hard right here,
They very much did.
but they're not going to have a Donald Trump every election.
That's true. That's true.
Donald Trump is an enigma that somehow is able to rally people.
Yep.
People like him. I don't know why. I don't like him. But, he was likable enough to get a TV show.
Certainly.
He was likable enough to be able to slap his name on any number of
right.
items.
Absolutely.
And people would buy it.
Yep.
He can sell himself. Can every other Republican sell themselves? No.
Absolutely not.
That's why Marco Rubio is sitting in Florida, not going to Congress like he should be doing because
Right.
he doesn't go to Congress. It's why Jeb Bush has no job.
True. That's very true.
Why Jeb Bush is perusing Craigslist right now
Yeah.
for quick gigs. He just wants a gig.
I think it's also important to point out that it's very hard for either party to win 3 elections in a row for the presidency.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
No.
Much at all. So that was we kind of should have known from the start.
The last time it happened was Reagan with Bush,
There you go.
and he only won one term.
That is correct.
Elder Bush.
Yeah. HW.
Bush Senior, grown-up Bush, not baby Bush.
Mature Bush versus
And then off to the side, there's Jeb.
a little Jeb.
Jeb.
Offshoot Bush.
Poor Jeb.
Oh, with all that money they stole. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, I mean, be civil, be kind, be compassionate.
Nah.
What more else can you do?
Or just start punching people.
You could do that, but
You know what? I've changed my vote. Everyone riot.
I mean, in the immortal words of The Clash,
Yeah.
I want to riot. I want to. How does it go? The song's called White Riot. White riot, I want a riot. I want a riot of my own.
Yeah.
Well, we had one
Yeah.
in Oregon the other day.
Yeah.
So that song is finally fulfilled.
I imagine if that riot had gotten out of control, there would have just been a ton of white people storming into Whole Foods and just slamming jars of artisan olives down on the floor. Someone over in the bulk bins just unleashing all of
The levers.
all of the grains.
Yeah. The quinoa and the millet would flow freely throughout the land. The gelato shed would have been overrun. Oh my God, the gelato.
Not the gelato.
Yeah.
So many farm to table restaurants would just be trashed.
Devastated. Devastated. The blenders of the juice bars would have the lids off, but the blenders on, spraying beet juice everywhere, far and wide. Fucking kale would go rampant.
The thing that cracks me up about people protesting in Portland, aside from just the general fact that it's Portland,
Right.
is no one voted for Trump in
Portland, Oregon, not a soul,
There's
man.
like 5 people
Yeah,
in Portland who
that's
are
right.
seeing that going, wow,
That's
they're
right.
really mad at me.
That's right. At the end of the day, too, I do want to say this real quick to wrap up. At the end of the day, an older generation, besides that funeral home in Florida that gets all these on a CD, as we mentioned previously,
Yes.
besides you guys, who I love and care for deeply,
Yeah.
a certain generation's about to all die, and we're gonna swing a little bluer for a while. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Until something else happens.
Maybe.
I think so. I think some degree of progressiveness comes as time goes on. You know what I mean? What's acceptable to the previous generation, the next generation tends to accept a little bit more. You know what I mean?
This is true.
Yeah.
I will counter with this.
Okay.
And I'm not. I do think everything will be. I mean, let's be honest. In 20 years, no one's going to care about gay marriage. Whatever.
No. It
But-
should happen. It's fine.
What happens? The way this is always how it works out.
Okay.
Is when our generation is 20 years older than we are now,
Correct.
and then the kids are trying to. I don't know. Make it legal to just bang a mountain. Just all the time. Just bang a mountain.
Or like say that the only like fruit you can eat is the fruit that's already fallen from the tree.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We hopefully not me. But our generation,
Yeah.
you will see a shift towards conservative thought.
You will.
Where they're going, hey, leave that mountain alone.
Yeah.
And I'll eat any fruit I want.
You get your transgendered penis out of that mountain.
So I mean, in our grandparents' generation,
Yeah.
it was race.
That's true.
In our parents' generation, it was
Gender?
sexuality
There
in
you
general.
go. There you go.
In general,
Sexual revolution.
gay marriage is bad. Blah 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 blah. So you saw them focus on that and not care about race as much.
True.
Our generation, who knows?
It remains
knows?
to be seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there will be a conservatives shift. Hopefully, the next generation picks something really stupid
I hope so.
to make as their focus.
Like the fallen fruit thing.
Like, all hats have to have smoothies in them, and then we can just go, that's stupid. That's a really stupid stance.
Peanuts should be outlawed. Peanuts are murder. Murder.
Actually, I could see that one being
Yeah,
one.
a lot more people have peanut allergies
Yeah.
than they used to. It's really. Oh.
Gluten's not allowed anymore.
Can you imagine when we're old, how hard it's going to be to get fucking peanut butter?
Well,
When all
you'll
these
have to
kids grow
go
up?
underground.
Oh my god!
You'll have to go. To
I
the-
will go right. I will go so red if I can eat fucking Jif. I will go so hard.
You're gonna have to find your peanut butter dealer.
I want my hydrogenated oils, you motherfuckers. Don't take them from me. My children, listen to me. I want them.
You know, when you're older,
Yeah.
your child is gonna hear you complaining about how you just can't get peanut butter anymore, and he's just going to be sitting there going, my parents, they just don't understand the world. They just don't get it.
It does, though, man. It changes by degree. It does. It does. I mean, I can't think of anything right now that, like, I think that's maybe the thing. Like, you don't think of it. Why would you think of it? Because it's in your blind spot.
Well, in the 50s, they were so focused on hating black people that they didn't know they had to hate gay people.
Yeah, or women. I mean, that was laughable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you're gonna see, Hillary for everything. She cracked the glass a little bit more. You know what I mean? So you're gonna see more women running.
Yeah,
and you should. And you're gonna see more minorities running, and you should. You know what I mean?
And minority women elected into Congress.
Yeah. Oh.
4 of them this time.
That's great. That's a stride, man.
You know how many there were before that?
I don't know.
Not
0?
4.
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't
Less
done the
than
research.
4? Yeah.
A fewer number than that.
There is this like weird thread of nationalism running through the Western world right now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's tough. I mean, Brexit happened, right?
Yeah.
Now you got Trump. Next is France. Have you heard about this Le Pen lady a little bit?
No.
Same thing. Brexit. You know what I mean?
Who cares?
They're wanting to do the same thing.
Let France just do whatever.
You got this thread going through, And I don't know, I mean, do you feel like there's any turning back from us being a global economy? I really don't think that there is. You can't close the doors that have already been opened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it will happen.
Yeah.
Not anytime soon.
A global economy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The euro has been such a disaster that I think that people would shy away from unifying economies.
Oh, I'm not
more.
talking about that.
No, I know. I'm
necessarily.
saying, but unifying economies more than they already are.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of Trump's big things.
I know.
We're
NAFTA.
not gonna do it. We're not gonna. Not gonna.
Not gonna. It's gonna be interesting
Believe
to watch.
me.
Yeah.
Not
Right.
Not gonna.
Right.
Believe me.
Yeah. He drew a line, maybe. He drew a line on that.
Drain the
NAFTA
swamp.
shit.
Build
Drain
a wall.
it. Drain it. Oh, by the way, D.C. Now, Congress has to approve it, but D.C. overwhelmingly voted to become the 51st state in this election.
That won't happen.
I hope it does.
It
But
won't happen.
Well, probably not because it's Republican Congress. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but D.C. voted like 93% for Hillary in this election. So
It's not gonna happen.
with a Republican-controlled Congress, probably not.
Well, I mean, it's not really going to change the electoral vote.
No, because they still they already have electoral votes. Yeah.
It's not. It won't.
I just think it'd be cool. You know what I mean? I think it'd be cool for them to be a state.
I don't think so.
I think it'd be cool for
It's going to jack up the flag.
Well, who cares about the flag?
It's going to look so stupid. We're going to have the dumbest looking flag.
We already do, dude.
No.
It's so like lopsided.
No, it's fine right now.
I mean,
it'll be lopsided if you add an odd number of stars.
Well, that's why we also have to get Puerto Rico to be a state. It stays an even number. 52.
I don't know if you remember. At one point, there was a push to get Puerto Rico to be a state, and they voted no, thank you.
That's right, they did. Thank you for reminding me of that. You're right.
So they have no interest.
They don't want to be a state.
No.
Well, we got to find somebody else.
Guam.
Yeah, sure.
We got Guam.
We could do Guam. The U.S. Virgin Islands.
Yeah.
Does anyone really live there?
The people who don't live on Guam. all of them. It's if you're an American islander, it's Virgin Islands, Guam, or Puerto Rico,
or the one that they like blew up.
Yeah,
Bikini Atoll.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, and Hawaii.
There's that.
But whatever. I think what we should do if we're going to make DC a state,
okay,
is sell Alaska off.
Yeah, I don't really need
It's just way up there, and it's not.
You have to, correct me if I'm wrong, you either have to go into the sea or through Canada to get to Alaska.
Yeah, there's no way to get there
That doesn't
without
seem right.
entering a foreign nation
seem right.
or open international
Now,
waters.
obviously, we should keep Hawaii because
Well, that's fine. It's an island.
it's an island. Yeah.
But, I mean,
You have to
got to go through
Canada to get to.
Or
That doesn't make any sense.
we could trade, hear me out,
I'm hearing you.
both Dakotas to Canada for the piece of land that connects Alaska to the rest of the United States.
Oh, I like that. I like that. So then we get like a little tongue.
Yeah.
out
I mean,
here.
it would be a dumb-looking country,
Well,
but, you know,
it reflects
we
a
already have
dumb-looking
Florida,
people.
and it looks like a penis, so...
A big hanging one. Yeah. We have no testicles in
I
this
wonder
country.
what Cuba would give us for Florida.
Oh, are you kidding right now? So much.
I mean, do they have anything?
No, they have nothing to give us. There's nothing that Cuba could offer.
I wonder what Cuba would give us to become part of the United States.
The people of Cuba?
Yeah.
You know.
If we could get Cuba to somehow become a state and D.C., then you got your two.
You got two.
Yeah.
So you're for it as long as there's two.
And Guam and the Virgin Islands.
Okay.
So that's 4.
How about South Korea?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, come on.
It makes as much sense as Alaska.
It's way the fuck over there.
Yeah, yeah. I just think it would be weird. Like, we're so used to Alaska. Imagine how weird it would be if we owned a state that was below Mexico.
Oh, that's great.
It would be bizarre.
It would be bizarre, yeah.
No one thinks
Yeah.
about it, but it's I mean, that's
What's
how
that
weird it
island
is.
at like the end of South America, like the Falkland Islands or something? Yeah, we could have those
Yeah, you have to go all the way through another continent
to get there. Yeah. So silly.
Oh,
Oh, how long would it take them to report in? About as long as Pennsylvania.
Ooh, has Pennsylvania even reported yet?
No.
I think they eventually just in Pennsylvania and Michigan went,
Whatever.
it's.
Eh.
I'm not going to count the rest of these, so you can just guess.
Here, have a handful.
Like 70. It's just 70. We had 70 votes.
Wisconsin probably would have got it in sooner, but you know their ballots are made of cheese, so there's always a problem with people eating the ballots.
Plus, with all of the cheese and sausages and whatnot, they kept having the people counting cardiac arrest.
Yeah, right there.
They
Right
had
there.
to run another one
Yep.
out there, but then they have to catch up. They don't know what's happening. That's strenuous, trying to catch up. Cardiac arrest.
It's just a domino effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew this. 3/4 of the population of Wisconsin died during the election.
They sure did.
Yeah,
They sure
trying
did.
to count ballots.
That's right.
The next election, it's going to be 2 electoral votes in Wisconsin.
And the people of Hawaii, surprisingly efficient for all the pork and pineapple they eat.
Well, I mean, they don't have anything else to do.
That's true. This is the one thing.
Yeah.
The one thing.
This is the situation where they're like, oh, we're included. We get to do something, guys.
This takes our mind off of the volcano for a few minutes.
Oh, man. The tiki gods bless us.
Aloha. Hawaii.
By the way.
Is this racist? This is racist.
Well, no, that wasn't racist.
Okay.
Because I was being a white Hawaiian.
Oh.
It's a white Hawaiian who worships tiki gods.
Hawaiian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of the actual Hawaiians hate him so much. Just hate him.
We gave this up years ago. Here's a Bible.
Eat some spam.
And get happy.
They eat so much spam there.
They do eat spam. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Strange noises from above us.
What is your wife watching?
Yeah, pretty sure it's some kind of like...
All I hear is cheering from upstairs.
Oh, it's probably Gilmore Girls.
Why is it cheering?
Uh,
I've watched many episodes of Gilmore Girls.
there's never any cheering. You're right.
They don't cheer.
No.
Stars Hollow, not a lot of people. You can't work up much of a frenzy in that crowd.
Funny enough, though, Stars Hollow
Yeah.
does get one vote for the Electoral College.
One entire vote.
Sushi Jackknife.
Sushi jackknife.
Thanks for listening. Follow Justin Croft at Justin L. Croft, Nathan at Badlands Badly, and Sushi Jackknife's very own consciousness at Sushi Jackknife. Email us at sushijackknife@gmail.com or explore our disappointingly curated Tumblr page at sushijackknife.tumblr.com. Or give us an iTunes review